All right, let's not mess this up this time. I took the time. Look at that. I didn't hit the add button again. I didn't put the wrong scene on, but we're only here for like a second anyways, because we're getting into the game.
Those claps are for you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to take each of those and put it in my notebook.
1 clap, 2 clap, 3 clap.
Well, I've also got like 3 or 4 from the David Kim joke from the drunk stream. That was one of the few times I did not mind a Reddit thread being made about me.
That was pretty good.
But okay, folks, we are getting into game number 1, and this is the finals of the group. This has actually been a rather short group, a lot of 2-0s and a lot of very quick games, which is all the more reason I'm pretty sure at this point we're going to make the round of 16 best of 5s. But more on that afterwards, because this is only a best of 3 and I don't want to confuse people. So in the top left side of the map, for the second time today, we have the blue Zerg, well, technically third time today, guys, the blue Zerg player, Denver.
The bottom right is the red Protoss. He is DnS.
It's the second time. I just meant in this particular matchup, as these guys are rematching. This was the first matchup of the group, and we've seen a lot of weird upsets when it comes to this, in terms of like the guy who lost the first time around conventionally tends to be the guy who wins the second time around.
That was old. That's old. Okay, that was Ting
That's old
season.
hat Rifkin.
That was Ting season 1. 2, it was even, I think it kind of like lost its touch, and then in the third one, well, we just started our groups, right? So Ting season 2 was just it broke the rule that we had set up. It seemed like no one ended up winning when they got rematched in the deciders. So maybe Ting season 3 will continue that trend, or maybe it'll bring it back to the Ting season 1 trend of always decider matches going in the other person's favor.
I will say, very much so definitively, though, the first time that these two played, this was such a Denver series. DnS really just had no real answer to the Swarm host, and like I said, I was really first off grateful Nurchio gave me some of his thoughts and shared some of his opinions about it, but I asked, like, you know, again, can I pick your brain? What do you think about the way Denver played, etc.? And the thoughts are that, like, DnS is really good at abusing certain aspects of Protoss, charge a lot Archon, for example, and the Swarm host end up being a good counter to that specifically, but might not be against other strategies. And then, of course, there were some comments about APM. But regardless of that, I do feel like, yeah, we saw that in both games where DnS did not drastically change his playstyle up. And maybe that's a bit of a problem. Maybe he just doesn't have a plan B versus Zerg, and he is like a one-trick pony. I think the closest attempt we saw was the Dark Templar, and as we witnessed on this map as well, it really didn't go well.
Yeah, I mean, both openers were mediocre to even bad, with the Dark Templar one being bad because he lost the Archon, and then the second one was the Depths, which, you know, it did okay, but not super great. It's probably going to be like the second game they played with this opener, as it started just coming down. You just got a couple of Adepts in, maybe try and combo with the Oracle, maybe even 2. Denver did well enough against it, and still got to a comfortable Swarm host position on Abyssal Reef.
Well, we'll see if it gets the Swarm host or not. Again, there's like an asterisk in that. I do like the idea of the Stargate, and I love that there's other potential things. One of the big things we were missing, though, I do want to point out, I think DnS. Well, this actually happened with Cost too, funny enough. But a lot of lack of vision caused some really bad engagements. And that's where things like the Oracle, maybe this gets some drone kills, but if he keeps us alive, if he casts Revelation on whether it's Swarm Host or Roaches, but the idea is that, like, Revelation is pretty much permanent scouting for the rest of the game if done perfectly.
Yeah, perfectly.
We didn't see much of that the last time we saw the Stargate, unfortunately.
Let's not forget that Denver might be able to play a couple of different styles, too. I think he is going to get to Swarm Hosts is the end goal, but he had an Overlord drop, and, you know, he could even try and put a heavy emphasis on denying the third base, because this is something that DnS probably thinks he's going to get no problem.
Yeah.
And he might even get no problem. Denver does not have a lot of lings on the way or anything, just continuing to drone.
By the way, some folks are asking, I guess, and a bit confused about the group format. Nurchio's done for the day. There's no rematch. The winner of this doesn't play Nurchio or anything like that. Nurchio's already in the round of 16, and he moves on to the next stage of the tournament. So he doesn't need to play anything else today. This matchup will determine who joins him.
Right. Yeah. Fighters. Who joins him and who gets, well, knocked out by... Oh boy. We got +1 on the way, but this is not enough lanes, I don't think, to tear down that third base. Well, the mothership crystal wasn't made. The adepts aren't in against a wall. It's a little scary, but yeah, no, I think you need like 10 more lings.
Yeah,
Seriously, though, if you made like 10 more lings, I think that their base would be heavily in danger.
It's a little bit sketch, but I'm not too worried for him just yet. The Void Ray comes out as well.
Whoopsie. 2 Baneling Nest. It's twice the Baneling power.
This is
That
so
gives them plus
you
10
can get-
health.
I would love that. Would actually be really cool if there was some element where like the more of a building you had, it influenced the units. So like 10 Baneling nests did mean that they had like extra health. That'd be worth then trying to snipe off buildings. I don't know, but then it'd have to have some sort of cost to it. I was actually thinking when you guys play, if you guys, I don't know if anyone here really plays a lot of co-op or not, but when you play Zagara, she's got like 4 Baneling nest upgrades or 3, so that's when tipping. You wish you could make more than 1 Baneling nest.
Yeah. I don't understand how that works because I never play her.
By the way, we did upload. It's up on our YouTube now. We tried this week's co-op mutation, and oh boy, it was a doozy. I'll tell you guys right now, it's a particularly long video that we may or may not have even succeeded in defeating the co-op. But this week's co-op mutation is one of the more difficult ones, to say the least.
Yeah, yes and no. We have an Overlord drop on the way, and we have a Spire instead of a Infestation Pit, then Spire. He got Spires in the other games, sure, but one time he didn't even use it, another time he only made 3 mutas with it, so... Ew. This feels like a bigger muta counts, well, maybe 15 to 20.
I would say the timing of this, yeah, but he did actually use them. We saw 3 mutas for the Warp Prism, 5 for the Probe Kill. Like, it wasn't the emphasis that you would expect it to have been, but we did actually see some decent muta usage. The fact that this comes down to the timing it does, plus the fact that it's still a bunch of melee weapons, yeah, this might actually be more. I would actually love if this was still just the way he had used it before, however. But with no sign of swarm hosts and no infestation pit.
Yeah. If you only made 5 mutas, then I guess maybe there's some trickery where he goes seriously massling Baneling, but you're gonna want to add in some type of lair tech, even if your lair tech's not that much more, stable or beefy than your lings, and mutas are not beefy. They're annoying. And it's gonna be, if he doesn't throw down anything, like not a Hydralisk Den, not an infestation pit, like right now, then it's got to be mass muta, which is something that DnS has a Stargate to start his defenses, but more likely he'll just try and kill before it gets out of hand with a Charge Lot Archon attack. And that is the first reveal on the mutas, but this is the exact map that he saw 3 mutas last time they played, and that wasn't actually for going to mutas.
Storm's an interesting choice. We talked about the hypothetical of going Storm before, but we never actually saw it. It just went straight to Archons.
Right. This might be because he was expecting Swarm hosts, but it also maybe is... It's so sad to say that Storm isn't really a response to mutas. Once upon a time, it kind of was. But since mutas dodge and heal so quickly now, it's literally hit or miss. We also did not have any attempt to start Blink, so I really think that DnS was caught off guard. Because again, like, your 2 choices are either to try and start Phoenixes or at least Blink, or just go for the attack. But instead, DnS is expanded, which gives, like, Lings just an ample opportunity to coordinate with these mutas. I guess he's starting to get Phoenixes now, but... And also doing decent enough damage to his Oracles.
Yeah, the Oracles will kill, like, 10 plus workers. You got the Queen on top of that, too. The mutas, though, haven't been cleaned up really either, however, so this is... Both players are taking some pretty expensive losses from this.
I don't believe the 4th base was cancelled, by the way, so DnS just lost all the minerals.
Shift K?
Out of there.
Yeah, that was killed.
So, mutas do not snowball to a victory, but they did have a decent start. If the Oracles hadn't done some return damage, it would have been an amazing start. It's still going to be very tricky, though, because, it's still only 1 Stargate Phoenix, no Fleet Beacon for the upgrade. Eventually, those mutas will get to counts of 20+, and then if you're only at, like, even 10 Phoenixes sounds okay, but, like, 1 micro mistake, and the Glaive Worms, they take a lot of damage. And you still got to worry about these Lings on the ground, +2 melee Lings, not too bad, constantly denying the bases you try and take. And there's not really an easier expansion to take on Belshir. Like, no matter what, you're going to be split between the far right side and the far left side.
Sounds like America.
Heyo. Oh, there goes the Mothership Core. She was gonna be killed anyway. Like...
Yeah, not a lot of juice left in that one, but we do have this horde of Lings running down the center of the map. And while DnS was maybe going for a decent counterattack, charge lots, Archons, you name it, there's just so many Lings. I feel like even if all they got to really do is surround that army, and it's gonna just get crushed.
It'd be a lot easier if he just went ahead and made banlings, but he didn't make them yet. So he's now in danger, in fact, of not being able to surround the army and letting it into a decent mineral line.
Nice pickups on the Phoenix, by the way.
It's a little disjointed.
Force fields are really good here, but the Archon's breaking some of them too. The Immortal gets surrounded. That's going to be nice cleanup. And Denver looks like he's starting to run away with the game. I mean, he has taken admittedly some damage as well. It's not like this went without drone kills or anything like that. But the fact is, upgrades are better for DNS. There's no real solution to the mutas. And you can't camp around cannons and overcharges all day.
Yeah, that's a real problem. There's still no real solution. Either you've bulked up enough Phoenixes, or you've bulked up enough Stalkers with Blink and +2, neither of which the Stalkers have. So there really is not an answer. There's a turtle aspect that he's doing right now, where his third base is probably completely safe for some time, but you don't really survive unless you have a base trade going on doing that. He's lost his attempt at a base trade to just things. Denver's even adding on Hydralis now. Wow.
Say my name really loud and get bent, Refkin. Treebreaker. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub.
Didn't say his name loud at all.
Oh, didn't I? Looks like he's the one who can get bent out of shape because I said his name the way you didn't want to say it.
You're a rebel.
Get riggedy wrecked. All right, the muta count, by the way, I think alone is enough to win this game, just because even if there are Phoenix, there's still no ground support that can really keep up with this, and they're picking off everything. This is super annoying. Mothership Port goes down once again, and more probes die.
Showing that he can play a different style. I will say this wasn't like a perfect execution of mutas. There was definitely a chance he overcommitted because he only had like 9 at the beginning and he kept on sending them forward, but DNS did not have a fluid enough response either, so it just snowballed to Denver. And, looking quite good in this series, because he does have kind of the fallback plan of Swarm Host that he knows DNS can't defend against, and he knows this game just told him again that DNS went for the same exact style.
Strategy-wise, yes. Availability in this game, no. But the massive amount of Hydras are just going to... Oh, you don't really have Zerg often in the opportunity to A-move versus Protoss, but I feel like this is that opportunity when you've got 129 supply, 30 Hydras on the map, and your opponent's coming at you with no Colossus, no Storms. Even though he got Storms, he doesn't have any Storms.
Yeah. It's over.
Hey, so
I think usually seeing the amount of Hydras that are available, you tap out. Tries.
This is totally unrelated, but I know you can EMP your own units. I never really... Oh. Ooh, the pause quit. Can you feedback your own units?
No. No, I don't think so.
Because that kind of friendly fire...
So you can't target a Widom on our own units, which is just bullshit, by the way.
Yeah. There are sometimes I actually wish I could do that just to cause it not to go off on something rather than burrow and unburrow it. But, okay, so game number 1 goes for Denver. Not so surprising considering this is the rematch, and frankly, the rematch is going as expected. But because this is the last series of the day, and this ended up being a really short broadcast, we got more games coming, but we are going to take a commercial break. Just 2 minutes. We'll see you guys soon for map number 2. All right, folks, we're back. Also, shout out to Jesse joining us in chat. Ting Jesse, woo-woo, hits us up with a 6-month resub. Unfortunately, he does come towards the end of the cast, so Jesse, you missed some of the interesting games, I'd say, at the start. Definitely worth watching. And Jesse, by the way, I love, because he actually does go back and watch VODs. He got to hear my story about the Mormons selling them Ting. But yeah. I do want to quickly start this game off with a bit of a public service announcement. I'm a little bit agitated by this, but I'm sure this is done out of innocence and not out of malice. And just like small mistakes are definitely bound to happen. But somebody's been taking the time to update and edit the Wikipedia page for Ting Season 3. And for that, I'm grateful and I say thank you. But the part that I'm angry about and really frustrated by is that whoever it is that's doing it keeps getting the information wrong. In fact, every single group stage has had, or group has had the wrong date attached to it. So I've had, out of the 32 players in the round of 32, like 19 now have had to contact me, like freaking out and panicking, like, wait, which day is it? You told me this and this says that. And I'm like, just go off the Team Liquid thread. I don't touch Liquipedia. So if you're a player watching, I never touch Liquipedia. I have no idea how that website works. There will never be me updating that site. Just go off of Team Liquid and go off the dates I tell you on Skype, please, I beg you, because it's so irritating you have to correct this over and over. And for whoever it is, if you are watching, again, I thank you kindly for your diligence, but maybe just do a little bit of double checking, because it's causing me a lot of headache. But we are in game number 2, here for the finals of the group. You're watching the Ting Open Season 3, and once again, I do need to shout out our sponsors over at Ting. Make sure to check out bttv.ting.com if you live in the United States. Claim that $25 and check out an awesome service through Ting. In the top left, we do have the Red Protoss down 1 in the series. It's DnS.
In the bottom left is the Teal Zerg. He is Denver.
I was about to say, I know how to say my name is in French. It's like Je m'appelle Denver, right? How do you say your name is, though?
Tu s'appelles.
Okay, and what about Dave Chappelle?
I don't know what that means.
Comedian, edgy, hilarious, loves cocaine.
You know, at one point when I was speaking to the driver, or the guy who was driving me to the airport, we were speaking like half French, half English. I realized I didn't remember how to conjugate.
In Virginia?
Yeah, in Virginia, exactly.
Sorry, context is necessary for stories, Zomberg. I don't know if anyone ever
really
taught you
not.
that.
I was talking to a guy in French, okay? Anyways, I realized I didn't remember how to conjugate in past tense. So I definitely was speaking some, like, you know, Franglish or some whatever name it is. But I do remember reflexive properties, which is, like, one of the more complicated things to remember. So what's up with that, man? The s'appelle versus m'appelle. That's just the brain working all types of one.
Well, then what about, so your lapel is where you put the microphone and buttons and things.
Yeah, I'm guessing that is another. It sounds like a French word, but it's spelled differently, and it's not, you know, apostrophe.
A lapel is actually somebody misread label. It's the B upside down. So
it's on your lapel. It's right there.
Read it.
Well, maybe.
We just discovered the greatest secret never told in fashion. Nice build cancel out of Denver, not to take too much damage from the Adept. Certainly annoying, but ultimately didn't score much. Back at home, DnS, though, is faced with a really difficult question. With this Chrono Boost coming on the Resonating Glaives, does he all in with this? There's a lot of things that could say, yes, this works out. We've actually seen this work out in a lot of other games from other pros. But Denver has done a really good job of just undermining and thwarting DnS at every turn. So I don't even know if an all-in, like throwing down 5 gateways right now, would be the answer.
It would be an ultimate surprise. Like, this has not happened in the 4 games that they've now played. Well, 3 games, then maybe it happens in this one. So it wouldn't be necessarily that bad, but I do think Denver has gotten a Baneling Nest at a safe time every time. It's just a matter of, like, actually making the Banelings. And that can already kind of tell you, like, not to do it. It's not going to be the all-in, and if it was, he would have to lay the gateways for so long because he can't take care of this Overlord that it would be worth it. It's double Stargate follow-up, which is oversells and scouted, but on the way out, it will. So, I don't know if double Stargate means carriers eventually. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but DnS, not going for the all-in. Denver is going to be able to see that soon enough. He won't even really need the Roach Warren, unless he wants to go for Roach Ravager, you know, but this could just be protection.
Yeah, a very nice surround. This should kill at least half the Adepts. Especially the Queen's getting some shots in there, too. In fact, I might just almost get all of them. Ooh, that could have really sucked. So, I mean, Stargate behind this, double them. A lot of Phoenix, a lot of potential here for annoyance. The Overlords also have managed, somehow not scouted. 2 Overlords with speed don't see this coming.
Yeah, the Overlord was supposed to go out the other way, and then it went out the right. Why?
I don't know why.
Well, that's the reason he doesn't see the double Phoenix. So he's gonna lose these 2 Overlords, but because they're speed, he shouldn't lose them anymore. Getting a 3rd base though is gonna be quite difficult. Denver made all these units, and he has, you know, the potential to make roaches. He wants to use them somehow.
Okay, so there's a supply block massively going on for DnS right now. But Denver's also making these drop Overlords right in front of the Stargates. It doesn't see them still.
Jesus. He's gonna see him as Phoenixes come back and kill him.
I'm sorry, Denver. I've been praising you all day. I gotta give you shit for this. This is the worst scouting of all time. But mother of God, it might not matter if he drops those on top of that one single pylon powering the 2 Stargates. He's putting upgrades into this. He's putting his hopes and dreams into this, and there's not enough energy from all these Phoenix to stop the link. So that's it for Stargate production. Rest in pepperonis.
He at least has 3 gateways.
Yeah,
and
a lot
he's
of
already
adepts.
made a lot of depths.
Yeah, I mean, this is hardly going to be the end of the game, but this might be the cost of his 3rd, as he spent everything here distracted and trying to clean up what's going on in the main and the natural.
That's not too bad. He does cancel it. It was like halfway done, and that's like a long time, but it's, I don't think
both players are going to get supply blocked through this, by the way. That's awkward.
Okay.
Lots of red.
Denver also, I hope he was checking one of those overlords to see if the upgrade on the 7X core was working or not. I'll tell you how much they will commit past it, but of course, if it was his fleet beacon, he's got to wait till a little bit longer to see that that Ling is actually trapped, so it's going to stay there forever.
Well, maybe not forever if it kills the Stargate. No, that's dead.
Oh, worth.
Well, it's doing something in eternity.
Their base goes down again for DNS, and now Denver has to drone again. I don't know if I would call that successful. I guess it was successful enough after killing the 3rd base.
I really like the precautions Denver took back at home, by the way. Like, there's a lot of extra spore crawlers out, like an abundance of them. Queen's guarding the hatcheries. Like, he really doesn't want to die to this mass Phoenix build.
Mm-hmm. That is one of the most embarrassing ways to die. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me.
Oh, these adepts. Gotta be careful of that transfer. I really like the spine crawler here. It's not going to stop them, but it'll buy time. Banelings get some really nice connects on top of that. It looks like both waves of adepts were cleaned up with relative ease, although the overlords are making that a bit hard to see.
Not worth the adept losses here. A DNS still on 3 gateways can replace enough of them to save his 3rd, so there's no danger of losing that. You know, there's not even any Lings anymore, so there really is no danger. Roaches don't even speed yet. Denver went for Infestors, oddly enough. I mean,
I don't think it's bad. If you catch those Phoenix and you got a couple of Ravagers, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to get something that actually hits the Phoenixes beyond that, or he's going to have a billion fungals. I mean, Queens can provide that too if he was going for a lot of Queens, but he's not. He doesn't have a Hydralis then, and he doesn't have any Ravagers morphing.
So, by the way, Jesse's been taking a lot of questions in chat, which is really awesome. And that's what I love about when he shows up, because then I don't have to answer questions that I don't know the answers to on stream. But there was a question, and I'm sure it's a bit trolly, but it says, if my phone bill's only $10 a month, how would I save $25 swapping to Ting? And I want to actually answer that seriously, because one of the things that's made us really respect working with Ting is the fact that they'll tell you, well, if you're better where you are, stay with them. Like, they're not looking for business. They actually want to just give better business if it's an option. So Ting are pretty responsible and awesome people, guys. Big respects.
Also, that would just roll over to your next month.
Shut up. Don't put a logical answer in there.
If maybe that was his technical question, I don't know.
I'm like
sorry.
99% sure that was not a real question.
Yeah.
So here's the question, Zombie. What happens when you combine chemicals together? I don't know.
I knew you were going to try and mix K and this somehow.
I don't know. Would you know? I bet this guy would. Thanks to the chemist 88 for the Twitch Prime sub.
I know it didn't work out.
I was actually the direction I was gonna try and go with that was like, what happens if you combine sodium acetate and like name some other chemical? But then I realized I can't name another chemical off the top of my head. So it's like
monoxide. Like it's yeah.
Peroxide and acetates and dihydroxides.
You put
tetrafluoroxides.
The name of numbers and then you put on some other word.
So we do have this leading towards carriers. Not so surprising, but I do want to emphasize before we get into the imbalance talks that are sure to come with this, it's not really carriers that end up being so impressive. It is actually usually the adepts or these Phoenix, or it's the things that come with the carriers. Much like an Ultralisk that can fly in the sky, a carrier alone is not actually that great.
The setup should be obvious. The carriers are on the way. Plus, they get Nova to the main base too. So you second, 3rd Stargate. I can count. Those roaches are not too useful. It's cool that they sniped the sentries and made them at least somewhat worth, but that was a big old waste of fodder for the ground. But you're right. Like unless he adds on adepts and he's depending on them to cover for his, the ground and cover against the hydras, I guess there's not really necessity for roaches. They're better off being another supply.
Well, what's kind of cool, and I'm curious about this, right? We still have the question of the infestors, and there are still, there's only one of them floating around. But let's say you get the fungal growth and you take out the protection for the carriers with corrosive biles, then I really like that aspect of it. But the brute force damage of the Hydras is going to be a little bit questionable. There's certainly not enough of them, but he's going to be trying to hit early before there's too many carriers. And if there's only about 6 carriers, again, like that's totally, you can totally manage that. It's about whether there's like 40 adepts underneath those carriers.
Well, 40 adepts or 40 cannons, so he's also going to be trying to hit before the cannon number gets out of control. He could also kill this 4th base, but I don't think he knows about it. That's awkward.
Nope.
Meow. One fungal on the Phoenixes, if they go too far forward, could mean a lot of easy deaths, but if they're fungal but still protected by everything, then it's not so bad.
There's also this important aspect where fungal growth is going to catch interceptors too, and interceptors look at whatever for the rate at which they die, but they can't attack while they're fungal growth, and that's what really matters for cutting out that damage.
Yeah. We have a mothership on the way, which will include another difficulty for the Zerg, making sure they have detection, or giving them a choice between what they could abduct, but Denver's not on the hive yet, so that's not really in question. DnS is, of course, scouting the other 4th base, but the most easy one to pick off is not being scouted. Come on now.
Well, I'll see it now.
Thank you. So that's an easy snipe. And
that's a freebie.
That's actually kind of a big deal for DnS, you know? Like, as soon as you realize what the attack path would be, maybe you should cancel it, but, you know, if it's not the attack path over here, then it's off to the left side. And this is why I you know, we don't see this opener, this style too much on Cactus Valley. A 3rd one's okay, you can protect 3 bases, you know, limited income, but reach to that 4th base, you know, unless it's cross spawn, you're gonna either be going towards your opponent, which in this case actually I don't think would favor someone who's building up carrier counts, or you're going way too far away from your carriers, which are kind of slow, and the still faster Zerg army, even if it is Hydras, is taking it apart. Well, so that'll be the name of the game.
While this went on, adepts were sacrificed to kill drones, so I was really focused on watching the Hydras and their movements. I love all the spore crawlers coming down too, but I really, even giving away 2 to 4 adepts to kill a mineral line just take away from what's in your army. And frankly, this is a make it or break it game where if DnS, if he gets broken once, he's not recovering. That's the danger of playing this style.
Yeah. He is trying to clear up that 4th base, realizing that taking the outlying one is just too dangerous. And this is the smarter move, but he still has to get cannons up, and he still has to add on a few more carriers where he can really feel super confident in his army. Same goes with Denver, though. Denver has to add in Vipers, I would say, although he's going for Neural Parasite, to really round out his army, too. And then, well, if High Templars ever get into play, I'm just going to give that one a DnS for the army fights. They're not here yet. And that's actually a big deal, because that could be very helpful.
Oh, the interceptors come in. This is where those fungals might start going on top of the Phoenix, but there's so many interceptors. Here's the corrosive biles would be amazing. Unfortunately, though, it does look like this will not go so great for Denver. He'll have to back away from this. He'll trade out the Hydras pretty well, though. A lot of the Phoenixes do go down. But this is a fight that was taken away from the spore crawl. He had this possible setup, this awesome push on the way, and he lost it all.
Yeah. Right, like a couple of things. When you started describing it, and it's like, first of all, he tucked away from the spore crawlers, which is just, that sucks, but he also just made the spore crawlers. He just put 15 drones into spore crawlers that took away from a big bank, that took away from a consistent economy, and then he lost his army. If he had 2,000, he's probably still in that game trying his best, but he did not have enough to remax. It was a fight that always looks good when you do it, and then you're just like, oh no, that wasn't good at all. Oh shit.
No. All right, folks, we're going to go to a small commercial break. We'll be back in just a moment with game number 3. Quick word from Ting before we do, and we'll see you soon. Bonjour. Ça va? Je m'appelle au gaming. Aujourd'hui. That's about my French.
Okay.
All right, folks, we're getting into game number 3. Things have been tied up now 1-1. We're in the finals of the group, and this could go either way. Reminder that this game determines who will join Nurchio and Snoot and Optimus in that round of 16. Spawning in the top left side, we have the red Zerg player, Denver.
In the bottom right is the blue Protoss. He is DnS.
All right, so what's kind of cool, by the way, is I guess we'll take a small step away from the game to talk about. We already have had some groups play out, and we just mentioned as well Snoot Optimus taking the Europe group number 1 by storm. We also had one of the Korean groups play out last week, where Byun and Solar took their group. Tonight/tomorrow, we're going to have the second Korean group play with a live Ryung, Byul, and Hero, and I hope you guys will make sure to come back and join us for that. But all these groups, of course, lead to a round of 16, where there'll be even more groups than a round of 8 for single elimination. And then at that point, we'll get to know who's flying out to California to join us live for those finals. Thank you to Ricky D172. Got a couple subs coming in today. Feels good, man.
Yeah.
But I do want to just address one small thing regarding the finals, because this is a question I've actually gotten a lot on Twitter. Well, there's 2 questions. One is we're aiming to make it free, guys. There's no ticket system or anything like that in place just yet, and hopefully there won't be. I would love to just have it be a walk-in event. But it is at the Corsair offices, and they might require something a little bit more specific. I don't know. That's going to be on them. However, the big question we've been getting a lot of is, like, what happens with Koreans when it comes to the GSL? And, like, you know, you've got people like Ryung still competing in TING, but maybe he'll get to the finals of GSL, right? Which is an actual possibility at this point, too, I'd like to note. And it's going to be unfortunate if that's the case, because it means they will not be able to come over. We can't move our event. GSL can't move theirs. And if that's the case, we have a system worked out to pick a player for a replacement out of the tournament that exists. And it won't be just some random guy like, oh, Dark didn't play in anything. Suddenly invite him randomly for no reason.
Yeah.
It will be somebody deserving. But I'm hoping that won't be the case. I do love, though, you had people like Byun and Ryung and others who were kind of doubling down, saying, look, I might make it a GSL, but it'd be great to have a backup, because if he doesn't, then he's got the Ting Open to go play in.
Yeah. I think that the backup option was just, wiser.
I think it's not only smart, but it's just safe. Like, why not go for it?
Exactly. That's the way things will go. It's unlikely, though. The top 4 will also be the top 2 in GSL. Could happen. Adept comes in here, gonna get a scout, solve the 3rd base, taking with the natural and the timing of it, and that's that. But the Stargate opener, I think, is the way that DNS has got to play it. He's got one game where it didn't go so well. That's fine. The Mosquitoes surprised him. He's got another game where it went really well, and he really chipped up Denver at multiple parts of the game. I mean, they both got chipped up. It was not a clean game at all. Pylon going down, and then the Overlord's dying, but not scouting anything, and all that jazz. And then, well, carriers are...
You know, hypothetically, Abyssal Reef could be a map where you can really bunker down on 3 bases, maybe even 4, and go for those carriers again. I actually have no idea if that's what DNS is wanting to do. It didn't look that comfortable, and the double Stargates almost felt like an afterthought, not really a planned move. But regardless, it did get him a win. Out of 4 games that these guys have played, DNS finally has 1 win on the board. So maybe it's something to consider. People in chat asking, Rifkin's Canadian, don't they all speak French? Je ne parle pas français. I don't know what to say.
Unless you're in Quebec, I don't think it's supposed to be that expected of you.
Even in Quebec, I'd say to a lesser extent. Like, you've got Montreal, which is like the heart of it, but...
Did you have an option to take other languages besides French?
Yeah, I think my high school offered French, Spanish, Mandarin, and German, I want to say. I ultimately failed at French and didn't even look at the other ones. But I would have loved, if I could. Like, there's not a lot of things in my life I would do over. Like, I would do everything over to get back to where I am now, because I really like where I am now. But I would consider trying German instead of French.
Why? You can do a better cat thing.
Kat Kennington doesn't have a German accent. Hello? But also, I think German is just a much cooler language to listen to. I really love the way it sounds.
Huh. I liked French.
Unless yelled by a mustachioed dictator. That's a different story, though.
Interesting. This is doing some decent damage. The Adepts kind of paired up and divided with the Oracles, and 9 drones, not too bad.
I'm trying to work myself up to do a Cat Kennington, but I can't do it right now. Yeah, 9 workers killed. Not too shabby. No, not gonna happen. Creep Spread is going out through the middle of the map, so Denver will at least get some better vision of stuff coming. He does have an Overlord scouting the main base, and this time what he scouts is going to be a Twilight Council, Forge, and possibly maybe that Robo. Actually, where's that Robo? Oh, we already saw it. So he knows it's not double Stargates, and this is a very different game than what we just saw. This also does leave the opportunity to possibly go for Swarm Host should he survive this next round of Adept attacks. But he doesn't have a lot in the field right now. Queen just died from those Oracles. That's nasty, and the Roaches have yet to pop.
Wow. DnS is getting a lot of either direct damage done with the actual workers killed, or just a lot of harassment. I mean, these Adepts aren't really adding too much on it, but they are taking a lot of time as Roaches just don't kill them that quickly. DnS is not going to the double Stargate thing, which is important to note, as I'm sure Denver would like to see and confirm.
Well, he did. That's what I just finished talking about.
Oh, yeah, sorry. You're right. I had the whole phrase up in my mind before you talked about it.
You're too busy fighting with people about my behalf in Canadian-speaking French. You're not even Canadian! Were you even blonde when you said that?
I don't think I've ever said I'm not Canadian until now. But anyway,
because you don't want people to know. That's the mystery that's worth knowing.
The robo positioning can kind of backfire, and we do have Swarm Hosts on the way. You saw DnS go for the mass gateways on the right side, I guess, now. Their positions were swapped last time they went Bissell Reef.
I mean, I do... Oh, 8 gateways is so disgusting to look at in the production tab. Because this isn't part of a wall-off like last time. This is just actually 8 gateways for production. The Swarm Hosts, though, are going to have an interesting dynamic here, right? Like, on one side of this, we saw how they traded up before, and we'll likely see that again. But if this is all for charge lots, and this is going to be Archon, and charge lot Archon, as we've seen DnS do, then I think the Banlings are going to be the true heroes here, not the Swarm Hosts.
I gotta mention in the first game that Swarm Hosts are the fallback. You know, if he wants to experiment or just do other things and prove he's not just a Swarm Host player, then good on him. But if it ever didn't work, then it's what he can do in the third game as it ends up being. Of course, I think it's also a chance given to him because it's not carrier build or mass Stargate build. And he's going to take that chance and not try anything funky with mass mutas. DnS, man, I kind of wish he would do something a little more aggressive, you know? Like, he just... This is the 4th time he's played this style, and I think every time he's gone for the 4th base pretty quick, with his army just staying kind of back at home, which gives a lot of room for Denver to set up the Swarm Hosts and get more Swarm Hosts, too.
This is super miscontrol of the Swarm Hosts. I was like, why are these 2 in the middle of the map? I don't even understand, but 7 probes killed. Bit of miscontrol on the Swarm Hosts, not too shabby. Problem is, we do have a lot of charge lots and Archons set up, and not quite any Banelings ready to go yet. Speed's still pretty far out, and the Swarm Hosts are all on cooldown right now, so intercepting this army is out of the question.
This is, like, I think if DnS is a little more aggressive with his main army, like, he could actually do quite good work. It's when Denver just took absolute control, you know, sniped the forge, just canceled the 4th base, got up to 10 Swarm Hosts that, you know, suddenly DnS couldn't never maneuver into his army, even if he tried. And here he's doing it a little before Banelings are ready, a little before Baneling speed. He doesn't have to observe with his army, though, so he's just on creep.
Big warping of Zealots to the main. That is actually a lot of Zealots. Keep in mind, there's about 11 gateways to warp in from. This is where I guess we get to see some of that abuse, but the Swarm Hosts come from behind. This might just be able to catch those Archons. Ooh, I like they did the stasis traps, actually. That's kind of cool. But
he just runs away. Oh, no! Keep running away! Oh, well.
Focus, please. The Banelings don't quite get to connect to the Zealots. That makes these really difficult to clean up. He will take out a couple of the Archons with the Locust, though, before they go on cooldown. War Prism goes down to the Spore Crawler. Uh-oh, he was really looking for another round of Warpins.
That ended up so well, a lot because he didn't bring down the rocks. If he could just continue retreating from the Swarm Host and force field off as he pleased and retreated, I think it's really a good move by DnS, but instead he got trapped.
He got crushed. This
the
army...
Zealots just got, like, trapped in that mineral line, too, so they weren't really that effective. And DnS, I thought his aggression looked like a better maneuver than just waiting.
It did.
And then it backfired.
Now, speaking of backfire, I got some Locusts coming up here to the high ground. This might just be able to focus the Nexus. No, it goes to the pylons. Never mind.
Quite enough to kill the Nexus, although I don't know.
Actually, that kind of look like a Baneling husk.
They have a Spire on the way, but I don't think Denver really needs it. He took out the War Prism just with a Spore Crawler.
But that's what I like. I like that he hasn't, like, kind of said, haha, I'm running away with the game. Let's just get cocky and throw it. Like, the fact that he moves towards the Spire, he has this available if he needs it. Like, I think Denver is already in more than a winning position right now, but I love that he continues to play this game seriously and doesn't get, like, he doesn't slack.
There's a couple of Locusts here and there to kill. Better than auto turret.
Whoa. Somebody saying our website's hacked? Is BaseTradeTV hacked for real, guys? I don't think it is.
I'm gonna report it to the internet police.
Oh my gosh, it says Holy Moly hacked it. Can you believe that?
Holy moly, that devilish trickster that everyone knows about on Twitch.
She hacks
I've heard of her.
everybody's accounts. The worst part is she loves to brag about it by posting from their accounts.
Yeah.
It's a really disgusting practice, if you ask me.
I mentioned this the first time DNS moved out. He didn't have an observer. That it just means it kind of like starts from ground zero again. So he has one now, and he cleaned up creep.
Forget the observer for a moment. This is another problem too, where Revelation isn't being regularly cast on these swarm hosts. So he has no idea when they run off to the sides. He doesn't have it on the army even, so he doesn't know where to position himself. Like 2 oracles and no revelations. I'm gonna just say, like, I really like DNS, but this is such a silly move.
Yeah, I mean, this game used stasis traps instead, which is cool too, but they didn't. I mean, Revelation would have been good, but just cleaning up creep's good too. Like, there's a chance that Denver also doesn't have good enough scouting. If his creep wasn't extended beyond his bases, he doesn't have lings constantly being moved around, and his army's getting kind of 1-8 sometimes. But he does have creep spread, so he has alerts. You laugh.
I thought you said 1 aid. I thought you said 1 AIDS. I was like, oh, such a simple currency.
It doesn't even make any sense.
I'll take 1 AIDS, please.
It's not even that,
HIV positive.
it's not even that funny. You're just...
Wow, that's really mean.
No, it's...
That isn't
33 banelings. This is Denver's, like, critical point, man. He's got enough swarm hosts. He's got control over DNS's army. He's got a full surround that, you know, this type of engagement backfired last time on Abyssal Reef because it was like, kind of all over the place, but this time it's not really well.
Yeah, the Immortals struggling to clean up whatever's left. The Archons and the Immortals, they've got damage, but there's no buffer for them. The charge lots come in a little bit too late. Everything's already dead. And, of course, the Banelings got big probe kills while this was going on. DNS might be on 11 gateways, but he certainly cannot afford to warp in off of 11 gateways. How did his Banelings survive that? What?
I don't know. I thought the Observer was going to go down, too.
All right, well, goes to Bowser. Cool, I guess. I think it's safe to say that Denver has run away with this game. The best part, too, is he's kept these swarm hosts alive, so they're going to continue to be annoying. He's moved on to mutas as well, so if charge lots are continued to be produced, they don't shoot up, nor do they chase through our totem pole stacking system. Although I feel like that would be such a Carbot thing. Like, you got the Zealots getting mad they can't reach the Mutalists, so they like get on each other's shoulders and start running around doing the classic Carbot swing in, like, hurrah, hurrah.
Classic, yep. You should email him, tell him your great ideas.
I could just escape him. Why would I hate email. I know it's like effective, and a lot of businesses still use email. I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the least effective way to get my attention because I'll see an email in the middle of a cast and I'll forget about it. You give me an annoying little alert message on Skype, I can't get my mind off of it.
I've seen your email box too. Like, it's...
Oh yeah, I have literally thousands of garbage emails. And that's even in the business one that's not signed up for spam. My personal email, which I used to sign up for bullshit, like, good luck. Night is where I'm coming down, by the way, so this game is about to get a little bit more...
Good impression. Good one.
I know.
Yeah. Better than your German impression.
I haven't tried to do a German impression. Why?
Scottish impression.
You don't
know
know
what? You did French and Scottish, okay? Like, you did impressions. I just missed it.
And you know what they did? They left an impression.
Yeah, that's sometimes impression.
All right, so by the
Army's
way,
gonna get cleaned up, but Denver has 31 more roaches on the way.
Denver has 70 drones to 0 probes. He just used the last 50 minerals to warp in a century. So DNS is done. That's it. This is everything he has on the map, and I don't think that this can break anything that's on the map currently, much less what's about to come out. In fact, I think broodlings and drones will kill this army. So
the drones are cool.
Why not? He knows it's the end of the game. He's fully aware of where he sits.
Go,
free
guys,
units.
Go.
I will point out, though, even though they are free units, and I want to make, like, Swarm Host jokes, before you leave, look at the resources lost, right? Like, none of these games have exactly been cheap for Denver either. It's always been really expensive, despite the free unit investment.
Yeah, well, it's been the 10 same Swarm Hosts, and all the other supply has been suicidal banelings.
Free.
That makes sense.
All right, well, folks, I hope you enjoyed the show today. It was a bit shorter than we expected, but that's okay. We still got a pretty good cast out of it. Lots of 2-0s. That last series was probably the best one, but I think, a lot more excited for the first one because we weren't sure if it would work. Seeing it the second time around just made it a clear weakness in DNS's armor that I hope that he can eventually work out and fix because, again, DNS is he was, for me, a player who was very low on my radar, but has recently jumped up a couple of notches. He's become a bigger blip, if you will, and I hope to see more of him. But that will be Denver moving alongside Nurchio, and Optimus is going to be very happy. If you guys recall, he was doing pretty good TVZ, and now his group is all Zerg. It's Snoot, Denver, and Nurchio. If Optimus, if he can keep consistent TVZ, we might actually see Optimus make it to the round of 8 for the Europe section of the tournament. Oh, I see somebody's taking a nap. Did you have a big day? Was it a hard day, Apollo?
My webcam doesn't go far enough.
All right, well, folks, we're gonna go to one last commercial break of the day. One last bit of a shout out towards Ting, as again, they are the sponsor of this tournament. As I reported earlier, we were at like 13 or 14 out of 40 people signed up, which is awesome. Thank you to Jesse for keeping up to track with those numbers and joining us in chat briefly as well. But again, if we get 40 people by the end of the season, or maybe it'll be like 3 months after the season finishes. The point is, once we get 40 people, there's season 4. And I'll tell you guys right now, if things go according to plan, I want to go up to season 5 before the year's over. But we'll talk more on that later. Oh, look at those eyes. Boop. All right, we'll see you guys in a few. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. There we go. Oh, scene swapping. There we go. Just took a few seconds. Anyways, welcome back. We are finished with the cast today. Thank you very much for watching. I think it was a pretty good time and had some pretty interesting games to say the least. But I do want to remind you guys about the schedule coming up. Again, I know we don't have a great schedule, website hacked, memes aside for the moment. But that's why we're audibly updating you guys at the end of every stream. And we got the TING Korean group happening later tonight at 3 a.m. Pacific. I hope you come back for that. We got the TING North American group on Friday. We got the Korean in-house tournament on Saturday, which is going to be a very interesting thing as it's going to be testing maps from the Team Liquid map contest. But I do want to show off our co-sponsor for this, Corsair. Because if you guys don't know, the Ting Open does have an offline finals. And we got pictures posted on Team Liquid. You can go check these out yourselves if you haven't seen them already. But to give you an idea for those who haven't seen them, the Ting Season 3 semifinals and grand finals powered by Corsair at the Corsair headquarters in Fremont, California. That is San Jose, by the way. March 25th and 26th. A lot of people have been asking, is it a one-day thing? Is it a two-day thing? It's absolutely a two-day thing. We're going to have both semifinals played on the Saturday. After party Saturday night, whoop whoop. Sunday, we're gonna have the third place and the grand finals, and then everybody goes home because nobody wants to stay out late for work day on a Monday. But some pictures of the place just to give you a better idea of what it looks like. I had the pleasure of flying out here last week, and I got to see what a lot of this looked like firsthand. Frankly, the venue place, it looks pretty spacious in these photos. It feels even more spacious in person. It's really well designed, and they're giving us some customization on how we can set things up for the event. But the best thing for me, the number one thing for me, is that the meeting with their production team, I told them right off the bat, before we talked any shop, I said, look, the audio for this event has to be good. There's events out there like WESG and others that have like these crazy good prize pools, lots of money invested into it, but then they have shit stream for the audio and the people at the event can't enjoy it, and I got to make sure that that doesn't happen for us. So we're going to make sure we got a quality event, and they were on board with that before we even started to talk about anything else. So I'm very excited to be working with them. I think it'll be good times. And again, because Corsair is our main channel sponsor, got to shout them out because we do have those affiliate links down below in the stream. Please, if you guys are considering buying any Corsair Gear, whether it's these fancy-looking headphones, what? Or whether it's things like keyboards and mice or RAM and power supplies, whatever it is, click on the links down below because that will give us a percentage of your purchase, which is huge because it helps us out and you get some good equipment. But I think we are pretty much done with the cast for today. So big shout outs to all you who tuned in, but also just mentioning we didn't stream it. The only place to view it is on our YouTube channel. So youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. We uploaded this week's co-op. It is certainly full of fails, but I hope you guys will enjoy it. It's called Portal Power. It was a tough one, and it's definitely worth looking at. But Zombie Grub, before I guess send us off, any final words from you before we disappear?
Follow me on Twitter @ZG Gaming, on Twitch Zombie Grub, and YouTube Zombie Grub. Look at the Amazon links down below. shop.
Did you upload your point of view of this yet, by the way?
Yes.
Cool. So if you guys want to see Zombie Grub's point of view and watch my point of view, match them up, put them on two different monitors. But the co-op missions were again, interesting for this week's challenge. For me, follow the channel, consider subscribing, all that good stuff. But of course, follow me on Twitter at @Riff_Kings. Follow the channel, subscribe to our YouTube, all that good stuff. We had Yoda the Drunk reset for 5 months. Says watched for years. Glad Prime lets me support you guys finally. Me too, man. Spiglet23 as well for the back-to-back subs. And thank you everybody else who joined us on the cast today. But yeah, last but not least, bttv.ting.com to check out the sponsors of the event. Get $25 in credit and possibly an awesome phone service that will serve you well for years to come. Hard Revenge in chat says, BaseTradeTV, how is the ticket pricing? It's supposed to be free. Again, the concept of it being free or not is not necessarily the issue. It's whether you have to actually still get a physical ticket by like signing up for an Eventbrite, or whether it's just like showing up at the door and walking in. I will say we are very much working towards trying to make sure that it's free and easy for you to just strut in through the front doors and have a good time. We definitely want to have Corsair Gear on display for you guys to try out, and Jesse's even going to have a booth there so you guys can get some Ting SIM cards for free, hopefully, and ideally as well. We are looking to try and provide food and meals as well for people who are attending. Like, we really want to make this a fun event, so we're working well with Corsair and Ting to make sure all that happens, and even Twitch is going to be participating a wee little bit. It's an itty bitty bit.
Nice. And Sin Mullet just subscribed too.
Would you ever go for a mullet with your hair?
God, no. No one should go for a mullet.
Why not?
Like no one should go for a bowl cut because it looks bad on everyone.
Well, bowl cut. Okay, so here's first off, I'm going to disagree with this statement because there are some people out there who are just so damn attractive. I feel like they could have the dumbest haircut and wear a garbage bag and still make it look good just because they are attractive.
A lot of their attractiveness, I think, actually comes from the haircut, though. I would totally agree about clothes.
I'm actually with you on this.
If it's a bad haircut,
I was ruined by Disney princesses. No girl can ever live up to the standards of those hairstyles, and they look so good.
Okay, I don't know about that, but no, bowl haircuts and mullets. You know, you see the guy from the front, and you're like, and then you see him in the back, and you're like, doesn't matter.
Like,
I could only ever look at you from the front forever, and I still would not date you, knowing that there's a mullet.
From the front, you sure look like you're all about business, sir. Thank you, but now I've got to turn around and leave. Oh, that guy likes to party as well. That's the logic of mullet havers. I don't think I can pull it off just because I can't grow my hair that long anymore. But yeah, I guess thank you, Hard Revenge, for linking the YouTube stuff in chat. We're just killing time for the end of stream, but we are done. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Thanks, I am Jax High for the 23-month resub here at the very end of the stream. And I guess we'll go find somebody to host. So thanks for watching, everybody. Again, we'll see you in 13 hours from now. I was guessing. I think that's right.
Okay. I say so.
I shouldn't guess. Let me go look before we leave. It takes me 2 seconds. I don't know why I don't just do this in the first place. I know, you want to get out of here. My bad. All right, hang on.
Thanks to I am Jax High for the 20-month resub.
I just said that.
Oh, I double did it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, 13 and a half hours from now. Please be back for the Ting.
Oh, what? Yeah, you got never mind. No, we did miss one.
Who do we miss?
I don't know, but he kept on saying that we don't pay attention to him anymore, and I
well, then you just proved that it's true. It was 13 and a half hours from now. Alive versus Ryong and Biol versus Hero. And Root Hero has been so on friggin' fire lately. I'm very excited for this group. Also, I guess it's very good that they already played their GSL matches, so there's no worry about them having to hide builds or anything necessarily. Yay. But anyways, have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll end the stream with some ads, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.